Hello and welcome. My name is Raymond Posch, and this is a brand new episode of the New Ways of Being podcast. And I'm quite excited to say that this is going to be the beginning of something new, something brand new that we have not been doing before, and that is wow, how do I begin? Well, let me jump right into it. Back just a few weeks ago, I asked God one day if there uh, is any. Sorry, I'm making some adjustments in my space heater down here. Uh, I was asking God if there is any entity that would like to speak through me that I would be a channel for. And it was kind of interesting because God said, well, there may well be, but I think the way I heard it was let me think about it and get back to you. And about a week later, God and I were talking again, and God said that He would like me to serve as a channel for a new council of beings. And He referred to it as the Council of Highly Evolved Beings. And that immediately meant something to me because in Conversations with God, Book 4, Awaken the Species, God talked about highly evolved beings. And actually, he talked about highly evolved beings in the book before that, book number 3. And so I knew quite a bit about highly evolved beings. And highly evolved beings are beings generally from elsewhere in the universe who are highly evolved, as the name says, and who are interested and willing in helping humanity evolve to a new level of consciousness. And in that book, Awaken the Species, um, it's very interesting because the conversation between Neil Donald Walsh and God revolved around a number of different aspects of the subject. But uh, God made the point that humanity really needs to step up substantially to a significant level, to a significantly higher level, to consider ourselves as highly evolved. And in fact, in chapter 13 of the book, God spelled out 16 behaviors in which highly evolved beings behave in a highly evolved way. And and in that, on that particular topic, that particular behavior, humanity is sorely lacking for the most part. There are maybe a few, some number of people who are awakened to the level of living at that level and behaving in that way, such as um, having no violence in our consciousness or our behavior. Well, you can readily see that 99+% of humans have some level of violence in their behavior. If you ever say, I hate such and such, Um, and I can think of a particular candidate for president for which in the past I really felt hatred for the man because he represented something far, far away from what I would hope for in a president of our country. But that's no excuse. If we are highly evolved, we should eliminate hate and violence entirely from our consciousness and certainly from our behavior. So that's one example. And in the book, there were 16 different behaviors that God pointed out. So God has brought together a group of highly evolved beings who represent different species in the universe. And they are not just aliens on another planet. God has said, particularly in that book, he explains that there are many different dimensions and realms in the universe that we cannot even imagine. And God has explained that, for example, we think in terms of life here on earth or perhaps life in heaven. And some people, of course, accept life in some horrible place called hell. And God continues to say, no, there is no such place as hell within God, because everything in the universe, including all the spiritual realms, are within God. So, so some of the highly evolved beings are from other spiritual realms. Now, they are all spiritual beings or divine beings for the most part, but as God explains in the book, they are so highly evolved they can choose to appear in physical form on a planet such as Earth and to interact on Earth, either as a, and this surprised me, of course, and Neil Donald Walsh as well. They can appear in the manner that we do currently, which is to take the physical form as a spiritual being within the body of a baby, newly born baby, and to grow up on Earth and, be here as perhaps an intermediary, someone who wants to help on Earth, but in the form of a human being. But God explained that highly evolved beings have the ability to take the form of a physical being now, basically instantaneously, and appear on some planet I presume, in the form of beings on that planet. And God explains that there's not just one spiritual realm that we might call heaven. There are many different spiritual realms for different beings evolved at different levels where they can live and interact in many different ways that we cannot even imagine. And certainly I can't, so I can't explain it to you. But so I have been introduced to the council. At this point, I have not come to know the council individual by individual. I know the council as a group of highly evolved beings. I know that it would be quite time consuming for me to really learn, their story and, how they evolved and how they exist, and perhaps they They go between many different dimensions in the universe. So it could be quite complex. And of course, we are eternal beings. So some of these beings have been, um, and I don't know how long I've been in the universe. Maybe I've been here millions of years. I don't know. But some of them probably have been in existence for millions of our years. And of course, time is completely different in the spiritual realms. So that's a factor. But what they have told me is that they have been interacting with human beings and sometimes appearing on Earth, uh, but solely with the purpose of helping humanity evolve. Not just a single person. What is important for our species is to evolve as a species. And the way that we evolve is to raise our consciousness. Human beings must raise human consciousness to, to a higher level where we begin to know that we are one interconnected, uh, not just an interconnected species, but that we are connected to the divine. We are spiritual beings. We are divine beings. We are all a part of the divine, a part of God, a part of the source or infinite intelligence, whatever you choose to call it. And our world will, and I've said this for years now, I've been uh, passing on the information that I've been learning, that we can create a better world. We will create a better world as soon as we accept the truth of that, of knowing who we truly are and behaving accordingly. So I have agreed to be a channel for the Council of Highly Evolved Beings to give them a path, a new communication channel to speak to more human beings, to humanity as a whole. And not to lecture us, but to help us evolve. It's in the beginning, it's going to be person by person, but as we spread the word, we will begin to evolve more and more as a collective of individuals, as our species, as all of humanity. Now, they are not the only ones that are actively doing that right now. There is an organization called Humanity's Team that I have been a member of for years, and they are actively pursuing programs to communicate these same kind of ideas that we need to evolve our consciousness and behave more consciously. And so the Council of Highly Evolved Beings is going to share their knowledge, their perspectives. In the process of doing so, they will talk about perhaps how they evolved and share some of that and the lessons they learned, and to give us guidance of how we can begin to behave differently. Now, you know, there's no 5-step process to this. It is evolving with time, with us as we evolve. And that's what I'm sure what happened with those highly evolved species as well. Now, they have asked that I help make it clear that they do not want this to be about them, Yes, I'm sure they have very interesting stories and they may share some of that as time goes on. But it's not about them. It is about them helping us to evolve our consciousness and helping us to awaken as a species. Because until we do it as a collective, we'll probably never have all 100% of our species fully understanding and on board. But over time, um, more and more people will understand that more and more people will understand that we are a part of this divine wholeness of the universe. That's a phrase that I use, divine wholeness. I don't know if they use the phrase or not, but so they want to help us and they want to communicate messages that will help us learn and help us change our perspective about ourselves and about who we are and about our role in the universe and our role as participants here on Earth. Now, God also teaches, and I'm sure the council will share the same thing, that we are capable of creating heaven on earth here right now. And right now, there are some of us on the planet who are practicing that now. Now, and I'm one. I am creating heaven on earth within myself. So it's not necessarily highly visible to the world yet. And I'm not attempting to change the outside world. I want to be a way shower. And what that means is that as I learn new behaviors and change within myself and create the desired way of being and the desired experience that I want to have, over time, that will show itself in the world. And I may influence others to do the same. So that is the purpose of the council, is to help us. And as I understand it at the moment, this is going to be a interactive teaching process over time. When I channel their messages, it will be in the beginning one way. They will speak through me, but you should hear them as a council. You will hear me speaking, but it will be actually the council speaking through me. And as they do so, they will share their guidance. What is important to pay attention to? Maybe what they learn about certain ways that we can speed up the process. Maybe that we could have groups of people interact. I don't know what they're going to say to us yet. And there will come points in time to follow this where it might be in a conversational mode, where there will be perhaps an audience asking questions, and I will allow the council to answer through me. I am certainly someone who is learning, and have this year I have learned an enormous amount about evolving my consciousness, and I'm sharing that through my podcast episodes and through my website. But the council will do that with more experience and more authority from their background, from being more highly evolved and interacting probably with less highly evolved species like ours over time, and what they've learned from in the process. So that is what is happening. I think this will be an incredible thing, an incredible opportunity for us to learn. And please take it that way. And now, if you are ready, I will shift into an allowing of them to come through me. So I will bring the council in just a short time. We are so pleased to be with you here today. We, the Council, highly evolved beings, wish to share with you our knowledge, our experience, and to help human individuals and humanity as a whole in the process of awakening as individuals and as a human species. We are guides to you. We are not telling what you must do. We are here to share with you, to help you in any way that we can. And please know that most of us here on the council have been involved over a very long period of time. Some of us have been interacting on Earth or with human beings for thousands of years, some even longer, and some in more recent times. But all of us have already participated and interacted on Earth. And so this council is new, but we are not new to this experience. And we have been involved in the evolution of our own species and know some of the challenges that we as a species went through. Most of our species did struggle to evolve as we see humanity struggling currently. It is not an easy process, and humanity is a very young species. Know that. By broad standards, humanity is still, we could say, in its infancy in relative terms. That's probably not fair. you have been evolving for hundreds of thousands of years. You have been civilized, um, and I won't go into the history. You, your history has demonstrated that you um, um, are still learning, and it's not good. It's not right or wrong. All species on their own planets go through this exact same process. And we know, a challenging process. But what we want to do is to help you see the bigger perspective of life in the universe and in life here on this world, and in how you might, with some simple shifts in your thinking and how you are participating in life, change to allow it to be a grander experience, a divine experience. Now, we must tell you this: we are all one. All life in the universe is life as God or the divine being manifesting in the physical world or in spiritual realms that you can come to know, but which you may not understand at the present time. There are many spiritual realms. Some call these dimensions, um, some call them planes of being, but for now, we will help you see that God has given all beings the ability to participate in the divine creation of life in the universe. And God invites every being to create the life which they desire. And each of us, each being, has the power to bring that dream, that vision into our own existence. Now, here we are talking about maybe not just understanding how the universe is constructed or how the universe works. It is that every person, every sentient being in the universe holds some model that guides them of how they fit into the universe. That's true of us on the council. That is true of you as human beings here on earth. So understand that that is a part of the process, that as you evolve in consciousness or evolve to new ways of behaving in the universe, ways that make you happier, ways that bring you more joy and abundance, that you will evolve your model of the world, of the universe. That is part of the process. So we will do what we can to help you have a higher perspective, have a higher or bigger picture of the universe or the world and where you fit in it. Now, we don't want to make it complicated. We want to help simplify it, but we invite you to be open to some new ideas about how the universe works, how humanity works, and how the world is one whole. And yes, indeed, it is very complex. There is much diversity of life and physical beings, and diversity of ideas, diversity of politics, diversity of individuals and how they behave. There are tribes, and there are nations, and there are ways of thinking that can be put into different boxes, if you will, different groupings. But we invite you right now at this early stage to be open to seeing the bigger picture, be open to understanding something from a bigger perspective, a higher perspective of seeing yourself as having greater potential, greater capability than you might currently think you have. So open to that idea. There is no simple, quick formula for how you as an individual can or should change and evolve to higher consciousness. There is certainly no simple formula for how humanity as a whole can do that. But we can share our own experiences as individuals and as species, highly evolved species who have achieved higher levels of consciousness and behavior. And so we will do that. And we will do this in a very in an evolutionary way. It will evolve from time to time as we communicate to you. It will be dynamic. The council as a whole, the Council of Highly Evolved Beings, is made up of a number of different species and a larger number of individuals. And just like you, when we work together as a group, we have different ideas that we can share and bring forward and contribute, and our own personal experiences that we can contribute, and the experiences and to some degree the history of our species, of how we eventually awakened more and more. Now, you don't do it just in one big step. It is always a process of learning. And that's true of you. You've learned new things in your life as you have grown in experience and age. And species do the same thing. They evolve with time. So we will have different ideas that we will contribute to our messages to you. Now, we have interacted together as a council enough to have much common agreement. And so we know that there are certain things that every species has to learn, and we will help you step by step think about those and begin to change. So, in this conversation today, or this message today, we want to uh, give you a feeling for what we want to do in the process of this opportunity of the council to um, present information to you. And this will change as time goes along. Um, we we want to begin, especially with the idea of asking you to make it a number one priority to know who you really are. There, there is a common belief uh, within humanity that we see and understand and know, and it is normal. It is not abnormal for intelligent species, to 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 be any different than this. But it is a very common belief among human beings that you are individuals who are all separate from one another. Yes, that is true. As physical beings, you have a body that is separate from every other person, and they are in their body. But understand that you are not your body. You are a spiritual being in your essence. You have a body that lets you operate in a physical world on earth. You have a mind that lets you think, but you are not your body. You are not your mind. You, in essence, are spirit. And spirit, actually, that word is long established on earth, but a world that may, a, excuse me, a word that may be a better word is you are consciousness. In your essence, you are pure consciousness. You are part of the one whole consciousness of the universe. There is only one consciousness of the universe. And consciousness is awareness, being aware of you as yourself, being aware of you within the world around you, being aware of a larger universe outside of you, being aware that, well, every one of you know that you have interconnections to other people in the world, and you have physical connections to the world itself. You need water to drink, you need food to eat. You breathe in air that is all around you. And but these interconnections go much deeper than most people realize. You are, every one of you is arising out of universal consciousness. You are a part of universal consciousness. You are never separate from universal consciousness. And this is a very important idea that we invite you to begin to think about. You may have heard certain people in the world that have said, we are all one. And most of you have taken that in a very conceptual way. Oh, yes, we're all human beings, but we all have separate lives. So what do you mean we are all one? Well, please understand that every one of you are a part of this universal consciousness. You are never separate from this universal consciousness. And that is true every moment of your existence, not just every moment of your life here on earth, but every moment of your existence in the universe. You are a spiritual being, a divine being who is eternal, and you have powers of the divine. We are using God and divine and universal consciousness as different terms for the same thing. So begin to allow yourself to do that, to open up to some brand new ideas, perhaps, about who you really are. But we have learned over and over in our own species, in our own lives, in other species we have observed. Every individual and every species has to come to an understanding that they are not just physical bodies on a planet. They are spiritual beings, individuations of consciousness, conscious beings who are inhabiting bodies, physical bodies, in order to experience physical life on Earth, on a planet. That is a beginning. Open up to the idea that you are interconnected to every other being on Earth, and in actuality, every other being in the universe. You are connected to them through consciousness. Everything arises from one universal, living, intelligent consciousness. Just a moment. So we as the council very strongly recommend that you do that, to open your perspective, open your thinking, open your body to new information, open your beingness, open your being to take in these new ideas, to begin to see yourself as a part of something much larger. You, every person, every human being is a part of this great unfolding life in this world and in all worlds. God, or the divine being, the all that is, that created all of existence in the universe, creates this unfolding of life so that all of the individual beings in the universe can participate in it with free will in order to not just experience life, which is grand, but to experience and share in the creation of life, the unfolding of life. Life is a very big thing. And if you open to that idea, then you will find that if you just remind yourself periodically to do that, that you will slowly but steadily, more and more, open to what that means. The divine creator has given all beings the opportunity to participate in the unfolding of their own life, to create the experience of life that they choose. So you can begin to create a life that you choose. The more that you allow yourself to open to this, you will slowly begin to see all of the infinite potential that it is within that understanding. You don't have to understand all of the complexity of the universe, of how everything works. Simply understand that you are an individuation of the divine with the capability to create your own experience of your own life, and to know that every other person in your world is that also. Every person is an individual participating in the unfolding of divine life. Think of it as divine life, not just life here on earth, not not limited by all of the everything that you see currently as a limitation, but that you have divine potential to know that it can be different, and that the divine intelligence desires that every being create a grand and wonderful life, a beautiful life, an abundant life, a life of love and joy and happiness, and filled with good things that you want your life to be filled with. Fun. And some of you want grand adventures, climbing mountains, seeing the world. Some of you want just to have the most beautiful home life and be with a family that means everything to you, etc. So you can create life and your life in an infinite number of ways. It could be anything. But many of you have never heard this before. This is, in a way, it's a grand invitation, but it is not from us, not from the Council of Highly Evolved Beings. I mean, yes, we are messengers that are sharing this, but God, the infinite creator, the infinite intelligence, the all that is inviting you now, and always has, is inviting you to participate in life in this way. This may be uh, some ideas that you have never heard before, or you may have heard it before and have forgotten. But know that it is true that every being in the universe is of the one consciousness that is our source. Every being is a part of one consciousness. We don't disconnect from consciousness. We are always connected to one consciousness. And therefore, we are always connected at that level, at some grand level, to all of life in the universe, and certainly to all of life on Earth. It is very powerful. This may be new to you, but even if you've heard this before and dismissed it, we invite you to open and allow the truth of this, to allow yourself to see this in a new light, to allow yourself to experience this as you can, as you learn how you might do that, as you open yourself to allow yourself to do that. This is every intelligent being in the universe that has existed. There are untold numbers, has experienced the same thing. They have, everyone has eventually awakened to this opportunity. Some do it in their physical life, some do it later in their spiritual life after they transition to the spiritual realm. And know that you are, every one of you is eternal. Life and every being is eternal and can experience many different lives on many different planets if that's your choosing. Many individuals choose to evolve and evolve higher and higher in consciousness and move into higher and higher spiritual realms. They do exist. So, God, in the book, Awaken the Species, introduced that as an invitation to participate, to, to participate in a grand awakening as a species. And so we, as the council, are reminding you or informing you, if you've never heard of that book, that God has invited you over and over again to participate in a grander life that is possible for you. Humanity can shift from the belief in separation, which is fundamentally the cause of so many difficulties in life on Earth. It leads to fear and violence and all of the difficulties that you may be experiencing, to a life of love. And love is based in the acceptance of all other beings and yourself as all being part of the divine, part of the divine whole of existence. Now we know this is a big Another big statement, but it is true. And when you begin to accept that idea and to move into that idea and to open and allow yourself to imagine what your life could be like as you fully accept that idea, you will begin to see the world in a new way, in a different light. You will begin to see the world as full of love and divinity and unity and opportunity to create and live in ways that maybe you only dreamed of. And when you come to know that you are divine in a full sense, yes, you are just a part of the whole, but every part of the whole taps into the power of the whole to create. When you can come to know yourself as creator of that which you choose, you will see that you can help create the world in a whole new way. And that it will, as soon as more and more people are invited to see this and understand this, the world can begin to change quite rapidly. And you are invited to be a part of this. Many, many people on earth today came here of free will, of individual choice, in order to participate in a grand awakening that will happen for the human species. And it is beginning to happen more and more at this time. You may be one of those who chose to be here as a wayshore to learn to see this and understand this and experience this and to participate actively in this awakening as a wayshore. A wayshore is someone who learns and awakens to experience this opportunity within themselves and to share it with those around them, either um, either through sharing information or simply by being here and demonstrating that you could do it. Every one of you can do it. You are all parts of the one universal consciousness, the life intelligence of the universe. And so you all human beings, all of you within the human species can awaken the species to a whole. So we are here as a council of highly evolved beings to share this information. And we will explore this more deeply as we go forward in further communications like this one. We hope that this has been helpful. We hope that you see at least the glimmer of the potential of this, because it is infinite, it is unlimited. You are an unlimited being. Every one of you is an unlimited being. And so all of you as a collective are capable of incredible creations here on earth. And it begins with awakening to these ideas and to continually expand your understanding of these ideas and to continually bring a consciousness of these understandings into the way you live in the world. Think about this, open and allow yourself to even if it's so slow, you know, we understand that this can be a big change, but to allow yourself to step more fully into the understanding of this, to raise yourself, invite yourself to see these ideas from a higher perspective each new day, and you will find that your life will become a grand adventure, that your life will be something that you've only gotten a slight glimpse of so far, but has unlimited potential for you and for all of humanity. This is all for today. May you go on to have a beautiful life.